What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel, Wealth Hacker Labs. As you can see, we have another edition of the Wealth Board. And today's topic is the recession, or the Great Recession of 2020. So unless you've been buried in a hole somewhere, chances are you've seen something with this in the headline. You've seen a news article, you've seen a YouTube video, you've seen something in social media that has addressed this recession that is coming. And the reason that we know this is because if you actually go to Google and see how many search results there are for the term recession, there are over 82 million search results for recession. For recession 2020, there are over 80 million search results. So the media knows that you are searching this, and that's why you are seeing this just time and time again pop up on your phones, whatever you do to absorb or consume media nowadays. So what I want to do today using the Wealth Board is just take some time and to identify, what are some key metrics, some key stats that you need to know about recessions. I need to give you two things to remember when it comes to recessions, and then if a recession truly is coming, whether it be this year, 2020, or the following years, that you are prepared. So let's go ahead and dive into it. But before we do that, if you haven't yet, be sure to, smash that like button. And if you find any value out of this video and the Wealth Board series, be sure to subscribe and share with people that need to know how to get wealthy, because that's what we are teaching here on the Wealth Hacker Labs channel. All right, so first of all, I've got some numbers over here, already written here for your convenience and for my memory as well. So what we have here, we got 47. So what is that? 47 is the number of recessions that the U.S. has experienced since its inception, going back to the Articles of Confederation. So 47 is all we have had going back into the 1800s. 11 is the average time, so it's 11 months that a recession typically lasts. So, sometimes you hear about a recession, it's like, oh my gosh, this thing's gonna last for, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. On average, going back to all 47, it's averaged about 11 months. So what is 4.3? Well, it's actually negative 4.3. And I found a few different stats on this. I also saw negative 9.3. But what that is the average loss in the stock market during a recessionary period. So anywhere from negative 4.3 to negative 9.3 is the average loss, which for many, that just seems really low, because often what you'll hear, especially nowadays, is the last recession we've experienced is back in 2008, where the S&P was down like 37%, and some people were down a whole lot more than that. So the fact that, it's averaged less than double digits returns is pretty amazing and surprising for many. So, and what is 20 to 30? Once again, I have a few different stats I found here, but this is the average return the year after the recession happened. So if you experienced that negative 4.3 or negative 9.3 loss, and you were still in whatever you invested into, the next year you could have made 20 to 30% more return, just if you would have stayed. So I just want to share some of those key things, some key metrics, some truths about recession, depending on what you've heard, what your coworkers are saying, what your family members are saying. What I also want to share, as I mentioned at the beginning, is what are just some key things that you need to remember. Well, the first thing that you need to remember about a recession is you have to take a deep breath. Are you ready? Do you feel better now? The media knows that people are just all about doom and gloom and recessions and stock market crashes and seeing negatives in your portfolio, negatives in your 401k statements. They know that it's just going to cause anxiety and just makes you want to read more and digest more. You've got to take a deep breath. You have to remember that the media companies know that there are 82 million search results for recession. So they are going to crank out content after content after content. YouTube creators are going to create videos because we know that you're stressed out about this and you're going to digest and consume anything and you can about recession. So you have to remember to take a deep breath and take it in stride. The other thing you have to remember is it is all about long-term goals. We're having a long-term game plan. You always hear this, investing is for the long term. Warren Buffett, the Oracle, one of the most successful investors of all time, multi-billionaire. I mean, this is what he has to say about investing, specifically about investing into individual stocks. But he says that if you aren't thinking about owning a stock for 10 years, then you shouldn't be thinking about it for 10 minutes. And it applies here, taking a deep breath and making sure that you have a long-term game plan, having long-term goals. I mean, a recession is only going to happen for 11 months, so we're not making our decisions based on a short-term occurrence. I mean, this is all investing for the long term. So those are the two things that you need to know, need to remember. But in truth is, okay, what happens if we do have another financial crisis like we had in 2008? If we do have a recession that is worse than the averages of the 9.3 that I'm showing here. Like, how can you prepare? So what I want to share right now are 5 things that you could do to prepare for a recession. And let's go ahead and change up the color here on the wealth board. So number 1, I mean, this doesn't really it doesn't have to be during a recession, but is to pay off your debt. So many people are still struggling with debt, and it doesn't matter if you're in a recession or not. Like, this is something that's going to hinder you, but even especially during a recession, to where if the job market shrinks up, if you get laid off, and you can't find another job, then, and if you got debt that you still have to make payments on and you can't, I mean, that's when you just run into so many more trouble, so many more issues. So the more that you can pay off debt so that you have liquid cash and you just don't have to worry about having to make those payments on your credit cards or your car payments or medical debt, whatever that is, student loans. Just making sure just continue to pay off as much debt as possible. The second thing that you can do, and this is once again kind of a no-brainer, is cash is king. So just continue to boost those savings time and time again. And there's actually, I want to give you like 2 reasons why you want to do this. I mean, one is pretty obvious, and the second one will kind of play more into number 3. But keeping cash is king. We just talked about this, right? You're paying off debt, you get laid off. I mean, you want to have cash just in case, just for those emergencies. And that is the biggest one, because right now, I mean, if you don't know this, but most Americans are broke. They're poor. It was reported that 1/3 of Americans, 1/3, so 33% have less than $5,000 in savings. 33%, over 1/3 of all Americans have less than $5,000. Even worse is that 21% have zero, have nothing. They have zero, no savings whatsoever. Retirement savings, cash savings, nothing. So just cash, having cash, hoarding cash. I mean, if you're broke and you've got student loan, I mean, if you've got debt, then as much cash as you can get. So stop buying crap, start selling crap that you don't use, cancel all subscriptions that you're not actually using, and start boosting your cash. Going on to number 2, well, I'm going to tie that into number 3, as you'll see. So the third thing that you can do during a recession, if you are investing, is to keep investing. When people start reading all the headlines, I mean, when I talk about like panic, I mean, people panic. When I used to work with clients, with my financial planning practice, I mean, it didn't matter what the headline was, it would cause people to truly panic, and I had to walk people off the ledge because they just wanted to sell it all, they wanted to move to cash. And sure, there were some times where that could have been beneficial, but there were other times that, I mean, we're just talking just your average day in the news where there was a headline about something going on overseas, or there was Brexit, or gold, or whatever was going on. It didn't matter. they just wanted to freak out, and they didn't want to stay invested. They didn't want to keep investing. You know, if you're retired, I get it's a little bit different, but if you're still working, you know, putting money in a 401k, Roth IRA, then you want to keep investing, because as the market drops, now you're just buying, you know, when shares are going on sale, and that's a key thing. And that's why I want to tie in here is that cash is king, is that you've got money to invest here. Oh, and I know this is probably going to be a while before this happens again, but I tell you what, 2008 was by far, I mean, it was one of the best times to buy. It was one of those lifetime opportunities. And there were so many countless examples of, you know, being able to buy a stock when it was a tenth of what it was. Even Warren Buffett, I mean, he picked up so many shares. I remember GE being one of the biggest ones. And I don't have the stat on the top of my head, but the dude made millions and millions of dollars because he bought low. And I know, like, there was one stock that my father-in-law actually bought. I won't say the name of the stock, but he bought in, and it was a stock. He bought it for about $5 a share, and at the before 2008, it was trading about $40 a share. Well, this thing went up to $100 a share. So just imagine, I mean, he only bought, I think, 1,000 shares at $5 a share, but when that thing goes up from 5 to 100, that's a pretty good gain. So having cash on hand so that you can take advantage of those opportunities is huge. You know, obviously you want to take care of emergencies too, but it also just gives you a purchasing power to take advantage if there is a sell-off in the market, because you're just waiting. Like, come on, baby, I want stuff to go on sale. I want more. All right, so what is the fourth thing that you can do? And you should be doing this anyway, but is building your IAs. So what does IA stand for? This is your intellectual assets. So this is your brain power, your experience, just what you can bring to the table, whether it be for a new job, a new career. This could be taking online courses, getting your MBA, getting some sort of certification that just can help with your credentials. But whatever that is, you just want to continue to do things that improve your self-worth. And this is also great for building your resumes and just making you more marketable. So whatever that is in your current career, whatever space that you're in, if it's you're looking to change careers or change paths, so what do you need to do right now that looks at that? So as I said, could be a new degree, it could be certifications, it also just could be networking, you know, with new people, your existing network, just knowing what's out there, understanding your marketplace, knowing what other opportunities could exist, just so that you are aware, so that if you are bombshelled with getting laid off when you're not expecting it, like, you know that you got options. And the last thing that we'll talk about here, is another big one. It's the side hustle, which I really like to call more like of a legitimate side business. Something on the side, something that is earning money on the side while you are currently working. So just imagine, I mean, you've got a good paying job, you're making $60,000 a year, $80,000 a year. And while you're working that job, you are building this thing on the side, whether it be an online business, could be an offline business. And this thing starts making an extra couple $100 a month, $500 a month, $1,000 a month, and you get laid off. Okay, so now maybe you got a severance package, you know, you got unemployment for a little while, but while you're doing that, you've got this thing that is kicking in money, say $1,000 a month. I mean, it's not going to pay for everything, but it's going to help out. And who knows, like, this is something that you're starting off at $1,000 a month, but now that you're laid off and you got all the time in the world other than looking for new jobs and interviews, like, this could be something that you could legitimately grow even more. And actually, a good friend of mine who I've had on the channel a few times, he is a personal finance blogger. He got laid off from his job, and I don't think he was making $1,000 a month from his blog. I mean, it might have been close to that. But when he got laid off, that basically gave him permission to pursue this full time, to where now, like, it is his full time, and he is making several $100,000s a year from this because he built it on the side. But had he got laid off and not had that to focus on, then it could have been a totally different story. He may have been forced to take on a new job that he didn't like, didn't enjoy, and that is a big thing. And I've got other videos where I talk about different side hustles, different things that you can start on the side, so I'll have some links to those in the description. But these are the 5 things that you can do today to start preparing yourself in the event that we do have another recession or another stock market crash. So those are pay off debt, boosting up your savings, keep investing no matter what. If you're not investing, start. Build your intellectual assets, making sure that you have more experience, more marketability. And the last one is to start that side hustle that is bringing in extra income. All right, y'all, hope you enjoyed this video. And just remember that a recession is coming. I don't know if it's coming this year. I'm sorry, my crystal ball is currently in the shop, so I can't tell you what the future holds, but what I can tell you is that you can start preparing right now. And this is all information and valuable resources that you can put in the bank. And that is just put money in the bank right here as long as you take these steps. And remember that don't freak out. Take a deep breath. It's not worth it. Trust me. All right, y'all, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to, smash that like button. And also share with anybody that needs to know about a recession. You got people panicking and freaking out. Share this with them so they can just take a chill pill and start enjoying their day. All right, y'all, this is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until next time, peace.